Yeah.
Okay, guys, so welcome everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much, Swati. Namaste.
Namaste, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, amazing. So, guys, first of all, before we start, I just want to say, as usual, that this meeting has been organized by the Weekly Fasting Group. It's a WhatsApp international group of individuals who practice the skill of abstaining from food at least for 24 hours every week on a consistent basis. And also there are people who extend it for more. But it's a very, very good habit, very beneficial habit. And if you are watching this video later on, and if this idea of cultivating this habit for 24 hours to abstain from food every week, if this idea appeals to you, you will find my WhatsApp number. My name is Arik. I'm the facilitator of this group. You're welcome to send me a WhatsApp message with your name, and I will happily add you to the group. Of course, it's free and it's just for the service. So yeah, and today we have Swati Dhariwal, who is coming to us from India. We're going to talk about very, very interesting subject of relationships in general, relationships specifically for people who are on the fasting lifestyle or on their healing journeys, and sometimes we get misunderstood by our relatives, our spouses, etc. But first of all, we will start with a short guided meditation led by Swati. So, Swati, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Arik.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
So let's start, everybody. Close your eyes. Try to sit straight in your place. Keep your hands in a very comfortable position. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let me start the meditation by chanting Om 3 times. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly take your attention to your feet and try to see if there's any tension, stress, pain, or tightness in your feet. If there's any tightness, if there's any tension, every time you breathe out, Try to relax your feet. Every time you breathe out, try to relax your feet. Every time you breathe out the stress, breathe out the tension, breathe out the pain. Relax, relax, relax. Every time you breathe in energy. Every time you breathe in life. Slowly take your breath to your feet and relax. Relax, relax. Slowly move your attention towards your ankles, your shins, your knees. Try to see if there's any tightness, if there's any pain, if there's any tension. Every time you breathe out the tension. Every time you breathe out the pain. Every time you breathe in energy. Every time you breathe in life. Slowly direct the breath towards your knees, your shins, your ankles. Relax, relax, relax. Slowly take your attention to your thighs, to your hips, and just try to observe and see if there's any pain, if there's any stress or tightness. Every time you breathe out the pain. Every time you breathe out the tightness. Every time you breathe in energy. Every time you breathe in life. Direct every breathing to your thighs, to your hips. Take the energy to your thighs and hips and relax, relax, relax. Slowly move your attention to your lower back, to your upper back, shoulders, chest, stomach. Try to see if there's any pain, tightness, stress, or strain in any of these parts of the body. Every time you breathe out the pain. Every time you breathe out the stress. Every time you breathe in energy. Every time you breathe in life. Direct this life to the spot wherever you have felt the pain. Direct this breath of life to the spot where you have felt the stress or strain. Relax, relax, relax. Slowly take your attention to your fingers, to your palm, to your arms, your elbows, your shoulders. Try to see if there's any pain, stress, tightness, or strain in this part of your body. Every time you breathe out the pain. Every time you breathe out the stress and strain. Every time you breathe in energy. Every time you breathe in life. Direct this life towards the spot wherever you felt any stress or strain. Let the energy flow through your arms, your palms, your fingers. Relax, relax, relax. Slowly take your attention to your neck, to your face, eyes, nose, lips, and ears. Pay some attention to your head and scan this area to see if there's any pain, stress, tightness, or strain. Every time you breathe out the tightness. Every time you breathe out the strain. Every time you breathe out the pain. Every time you breathe in energy. Every time you breathe in life. Take the breath of life to your head, to your face, to your neck. And let the breath of life nourish every part of your upper part of the body. Relax, relax, relax. Just watch your breath. When you breathe in, the air is warm. Every time you breathe out, the air is warmer. Every time you breathe in, the air is cool. Every time you breathe out, the air is warm. Breathe in and take in the energy of the breath of life. Let this breath of life nourish every cell of your body. Let this breath nourish and brighten up every cell, every nook and corner of your body. With every breath, see that light is entering your body, and slowly it's pervading the whole body. Now you're feeling lighter and lighter and lighter. Stay in this feeling. Just continue to feel this lightness. And just keep observing your breath. Now slowly, let's bring back our attention to the present. Slowly move your toes and your fingers. Bring both your hands together. Rub them. Place them on your eyes. Bless yourself. Bring both your hands together. Place it near your forehead. Om Shanti. Hope that was very relaxing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Swati. Wow, that was amazing.
Thank you. Yes.
Art and don't know, so personal story. I'm native the age. I haven't heard it, so maybe you could tell us.
Arik, there's some sound issues I guess.
Well,
I can't hear you very clearly, I guess. There's some internet issue here.
just a moment. Can you, how is okay, can you?
It's better. It's better.
Another pair of headphones, maybe.
Yeah.
Moment. Yeah, just a moment.
Yeah, it's better now.
Now, yeah? Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's fine, right?
Yes. Yes.
saying is that there are a few people who don't know you yet. I personally your healing stories and how you started young age, your healing journey. Maybe you could just.
Yeah. Yes. Right. So I got introduced to this lifestyle as a child when I was just 5 years old. When my father, he just chanced upon a nature cure camp in Bombay. He was a businessman. And when he was on a business trip, when he was in Bombay, he just came across a nature cure camp, and he attended that. It was conducted by the famous Anne Wigmore, and he got so impressed that he wanted to learn. So he learned about nature cure, and once he learned, he decided that he did not want to continue with his business, and he wanted to start his practice as a nature cure practitioner. So he left his family, like he was living with his extended like family, with his mother, his father, his brothers and sisters, and he was the eldest son, and he was married and he had 4 kids already. And that was when he decided that he wanted to quit the family business and he wanted to move towards the south and start his own nature cure practice. So he moved to the south with his family, and when we came to he settled down in Chennai. So when we settled down in Chennai, I was just 5 years old, and from that time my father, he just started his nature cure practice as a nature cure practitioner. And from day one, I remember, like, I have been assisting him in whatever capacity I could at the age. And that's how I was always associated with his activities, and I learned everything under him practically. And with age, when I started when I could read, I started reading books, lots of books that my father had on nature cure, and that's how my interest in this field grew. So with time, what happened, like, I studied, I did my diplomas in nature cure, and then I started practicing with my father full-fledged. And now I'm continuing to do the same thing. And yes, so this is how my journey started. And I just love what I do. I love to interact with people, guide people, educate people on this kind of lifestyle. And thank you so much, Arik.
What kind of books?
Books, it used to be like books on every subject, like fasting or nature cure or astrology. So all kinds of books. And I just loved reading all the books. I would never miss on any book.
Okay.
Yeah.
At which point have you become practitioner yourself?
Yes. Yes.
Point, like, where you start.
The voice is not clear. I don't know why. It's breaking. I can't.
Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Is when you started treating people yourself.
Yeah. So you're asking me a question where can you just type it out?
Yeah. Okay. I will type it out. Yeah. Just a
Yeah,
moment.
that will be better. Because, yeah, when you're closer to the screen, then your voice is clear.
Better now?
Yeah.
So what I asked is, how old were you
Haha. When I started.
treating patients yourself when you started? Yeah. When you.
Yeah. I was 23 years old.
Hmm?
Yeah. I was 23 years old when I started taking patients myself. And since last 5 years, I've started taking people in at my own home. Like, people can come and stay with me. And I help them to change their lifestyle, their food habits. and help them to transition and start on their healing journey.
This is amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Can you hear me well now, what I'm saying now?
Sometimes it does break. Sometimes it does break. You need to be a little bit closer to the screen, I guess.
Okay, Jyoti, so now let's get fascinates me about relationships.
Yes.
You're from India, so
Yeah.
special. For example, when we talk about families, I know, first of all, in India, there is still a very, very small percentage of divorce in relation to the West, where we have 50%. In India,
Yeah.
like that. So I read a survey that said India are really happy with their marriage.
Okay.
That I read, 50% of people said that their family is the source of their joy in life. Ask you, because you come from this background. So, what is the viewpoint in marriage that people from Indian people about this general? And then after that, we will move to the subject healing journey and their spouses. But first of all, general successful marriage.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting question. And I'm really happy that you brought this up, because this is a very, I've been studying and observing this a lot since my childhood. Like I've had clients coming from the West when my dad was practicing also. So I used to observe like how their lifestyle was and how lifestyle in India is and how relationships over here are and how it's there in the West. So marriages here, until recent times, it was mostly like the marriages were fixed by the parents. The girl or the boy did not seek out and look out for their partners on their own. It was the parents who would look into the family and who would look into the financial background, the education, what kind of a family it was. And then they would also look into the prospective girl or the boy's background, whether he was educated, whether he was of a good nature. So it was like they would go into all those details before they really decided if that person was a good match. Yes, sometimes it can be biased because some people are more interested in the financial background, or some people are more interested in the name and fame of the family. So sometimes it could be that, but still we are brought up from childhood, like we are being told from our childhood that always, like, once you marry somebody, you are stuck with that person for life. It's been told from childhood. Like they say, like you marry somebody and good or bad, you have to take that relationship further. You have to continue with the same marriage and live happily or whatever, but you need to be there. That is it. And yes, and when girls marry, it's like the girl marries and leaves the home and goes to the groom's house, right, to live with the groom's family. So the girl is always said, like, when you leave home, you go to the other family and now you live there, and you always come back only as a guest, but you never come back to live with us again. That's something like fed since your childhood. Okay, so it's always there in your mind, like whatever the relationship you are going to have, you will have to make the best of it on your own. Right? So this is something where I think people start with the idea like you need to, you will have to anyway make the relationship work. So that's one of the major reasons, I guess, that people, whether good or bad, they still continue to live together. And once they have kids, for the sake of the kids, they still live together and make the relationship work. And what I understand, this is the background that I'm giving from what how we are brought up here. But otherwise, if you ask me, like, what I understand is whether you choose your own partner or whether somebody else chooses your partner for you, ultimately what is going to make the relationship work is um, your willingness to put in effort to make the relationship work. So back in those days, like there was no looking back. Whether the marriage was a happy marriage, whether it was not a happy marriage, it still had to be there. And what helped here was we lived in a larger family, in a joint family. It was not a nuclear family. Like we lived with our parents. So when there were many people around, so it did not really matter much if your relationship with your husband or your wife was not really that good, because you had other company in the family. Like you may have a good relationship with your mother-in-law. You may have a good relationship with your sister-in-law. Like you may have a good relationship with somebody else in the family. You might find a friend in the family. Like you have good family support. And so this network was what actually helped the relationship to sustain. And when you live with many people around you, what happens is you learn to adjust to every single situation that comes up. And this is where is the key, I guess, to learn to adjust or learn to give and take, and not always think just about myself, not just about when I just plan about something, it would always be about the whole family. So that totalitarian outlook was what actually helped the marriages to sustain. So now with the time,
total outlook, yeah, like the
yes.
nuclear. So that kind of outlook you mean, right?
Yes, like a larger outlook, like you always thought about the whole family more than yourself or just your spouse or just your kids. And yeah, and it was a sort of a very good ecosystem where like everybody was supporting everybody else. When the kids are born, it's not just the parents who are taking care of the kids, it's the grandparents who are taking care of the kids most of the time. So the parents are free to take care of their duties. Like they don't have to divide their time between their duties and their time towards their kids. The grandparents were more sort of retired, so they had more time to devote to the kids. And there were other uncles and aunts in the family who would somehow pitch in and somehow teach something and to the child, or there would be inputs from everywhere. So it was a nice network, which was actually the main reason why marriages really sustained really well those days. But now the scenario is changing a bit because these families are growing smaller due to the influence of the Western culture, you can say. And so the families are growing smaller. And as the families are growing smaller and the kids are being brought up in a very small setup, they cease to learn how to adjust or how to get along with a larger group of people. So, and they are brought up in such a way that the parents really take care of them, they pamper them, they fulfill every needs and wishes in their childhood. So when they grow up, what happens is when they marry somebody and when they find some sort of misunderstanding or some sort of disturbance in the relationship, they really find it difficult to adjust or to give in or understand, because they have always been pampered and they just take it for granted that again now it's they're entitled to be to get whatever they want without thinking about what the other person actually wants. So this kind of thing is happening now more. So now the number of divorce rates are going up a little bit because the children don't have that much of patience like before. Like before, when people lived together, larger families lived together, people learned to be patient, people learned to be understanding, people learned to be helpful more. but now it's more about the kids themselves all the time. So they are not able to really have that kind of relationship that we used to have before. So now the ratio, the idea is changing a bit. Yes.
Swati, and I wanted to ask, so for example, you had this big family, you know, with all the relatives living together. Now, let's say one of the members has some kind of unconscious nutrition on fasting. So level of tolerance of big, or it differs from one family to another. So
Yeah. So when one person is having this kind of a vision, what happens is, like in India, it is not really very difficult to get into a lifestyle where you want to fast, because in almost every religion in India, fasting is a very, very integral part. So anybody who wants to fast, the family is going to be happy about it, because you are being very religious, you're trying to be more spiritual. So the families usually encourage this. It's it's very rare only in modern, more of people who are more into the materialistic thinking. Such families are where they don't really encourage much of fasting, but otherwise people who are more religious or people who are more into spiritualism, wherein I understand at least like 50% of Indian families are still connected with all that. So it's not really that difficult if you want to fast. The family does support you.
I mean, for example, if someone wants to get into raw foods, for example, which is the absolute,
Yeah.
you know, or whatever, like what would be the level of tolerance of such?
Right. Yeah. The fasting might be easier in India than going on raw, because food is the thing in India. Like that is the medium or the channel through which you express your love for anybody and everybody. In India, food is a big thing. And as you know, like we have so many cuisines here, like so many different kinds of foods and all. Like every state has its own authentic, different kinds of foods. So the variety of foods and here is really very varied. And every single festival, every single happy occasion, every happy or whatever occasion, good or bad, is celebrated with food. So food is a very, very integral part of here. So going on to raw can be a challenge, because here, like when you tell people that you are on fruits, and they just cannot understand how you can sustain on it, because it just cannot give you any energy. Like without grains, you just cannot sustain. Yeah. So that can be a challenge, and that is a challenge with many people. But then yeah, I just teach them, and I just keep talking to them, and I try to educate them enough so that they can talk to their families and make them understand that this is still okay.
Okay.
Yes.
The person, because you said that people need other. Yeah, can you hear me?
No, this is not, I didn't hear you.
Now, how is it now?
Sometimes it comes out really clear, and sometimes it is just completely off.
Bit of
Can't
interest
hear you
now.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
So you said that we need to learn how to adjust with the needs of other people.
Yes.
Find the balance
Yep.
and between losing yourself and losing what really is important in your.
Yes. Very.
Yeah. So how would you answer?
Yes. Yeah, very good question. Because yes, very often this happens and used to happen through all these centuries, like through all these years. We have seen like there have been people who have lost their personalities, or who had lost their individualism when they got really completely into the family and always adjusting to what the family wanted. But still, there have been personalities who really moved out of this, or who really still tried to shine out by sticking to what they wanted in life. So I think this is anyway even when you look into the family perspective from a point of view, this was very much possible. But even today, when people are living in smaller families, even then, even today, we are still losing ourselves. If not in the family duties, we are losing ourselves in different kinds of what to say, habits, which are not really very healthy for you. Like people get drowned into too much of Netflix, or people get drowned too much into media, social media, or drinking. Like ultimately, like people somehow lose themselves, whether it be in the family or even if you're on your own. It's very much possible that you might lose yourself, because ultimately it's all about focus. If you are not focused on yourself, whether you are in a larger family, or whether you are in a smaller family, or whether you are on your own, if you are not focused on your own growth, you can still be lost.
Okay, good. So hope. Okay, Swati. So guys, do you have any questions at this point? Okay, so, Swati. So then let's continue. So now we are taking this situation when one journey,
When?
when a person is
Yeah.
on their, and they're surrounded by people who are not on this journey.
Yes.
A spouse who is not on this journey.
Yes.
Find this balance between, say, the other hand, doing what you want.
Right. Very good question. This is a struggle which most people are facing who are onto this kind of a journey, like whether a fasting journey or a journey on raw food or whatever. People do find it difficult, because very often we see that people really connect over food. Like we love to get come together, sit together and eat and enjoy our company with each other while eating the food that we love to eat. So when one person as a couple, when one person has ceased or stopped to enjoy the same kinds of foods, or has started fasting, the spouse can really feel a little bit left out, or may start feeling like both of them are getting a little bit disconnected. And this is where we need to, what we can do is we can just talk to each other about it, talk about what's happening. And instead of sharing the same kind of food, the couple can still sit together at the same table, and both can enjoy the kind of food they want to eat. And they can also try to find some other activities which they can do together, so that they are still bonding with each other over other activities. And with time, I'm sure when the spouse will start seeing some positive improvements in the other person, then he or she is going to accept it. And if he or she wants to change over, can change over. If not, they can stay where they are, but still they can really be together and be happy about it. But then communication is the key. You need to talk about it. You need to tell how you feel when you are doing this kind of a practice, and how beneficial it is for you. So if you keep talking about it, the other person can understand you, because you ultimately, like, the other person needs to understand you to be able to accept you and whatever you're doing. So the communication has to be there, and the communication has to happen only when both of them are in a very calm state of mind, not when there's a fight going on, or not when an issue has come up, because that is not when anybody's going to listen to each other. So that is not the time when you need to talk about this. You talk about this only when both of you are calm, you're sitting and enjoying a nice time together. And this is when both of you are receptive to each other's feelings or each other's thoughts. And that is when you can bring this topic up and you can discuss about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't hear you.
Not hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
So- Okay, and how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good, Swati. So tell me, I wanted to know about the communication between you and your spouse or between you and your other relatives, because I guess in order to discuss those subjects, the communication in the first place, you need to get each other reach that level in order to discuss those subjects.
Right. Okay. So I think I've got most of your question. And if not fully, I've got it partially at least. So you are asking me about how I and my spouse are about like how my husband is able to adjust with what my lifestyle is about, right?
I'm asking how level of communication.
The level of communication between me and my spouse.
Yes, in
Right.
such things. Yeah.
Right. Yes. The communication, my communication with my family, with my spouse, with my kids is really very good. And yes, initially when I really used to talk about what I did, initially my husband was a little bit resistant to this idea of being on raw, because he would think, just like everybody else, that this is not a sustainable lifestyle. And he would always tell, like, okay, maybe you can just do this for some time, but then you need to get back to your normal routine. And yes, if you fall sick, you still need to go to the doctor. This is what he used to believe. But then when he started seeing that when people came to me and when they stayed with me, or when they would just come and consult with me and visit me daily for their daily treatments. So they were local people would just visit me daily for a couple of hours. They'll come and do some treatments and have some counseling and have a couple of fruit diet here and then go back home. And people who travel from far away, they come and stay with me. So initially my husband would just would be wondering, like, okay, will this really work? And over the time, like every single day, every day when he would come back from his work, he will just ask my clients, like, okay, so how are you feeling? So do you see any improvement? So he would always ask. And when the people would give him really very positive answers, and when they would be very happy and jubilant about their breakthroughs and their improvements, that was what actually made my husband think. And slowly over the time, he too has started accepting that this is what works, and he has started believing in it. And he also has started practicing to whichever degree he can. So
Wow.
yes. So ultimately what happens is, I don't try to force. Even today with my husband or with my kids, I don't force anybody on, like, this is the thing, you have to follow this and you have to do this and do that. No, I never try to force anybody, because I don't believe in it. I just believe, like, every single person has their own journey, even if it's my husband, even if it's my mother, or even if it's my brothers and sisters, or even if it's my kids. So I can just tell them what I know and what I understand. And it is up to them to take up as much as they want to. And yes, sometimes it might not be the way they eat or the way they are living might not be in sync with natural lifestyle at all. But still, it's okay, because I think ultimately it's their journey. And yes, when they don't, when they fall sick or when there's any health issue, they know that they can always get back to nature and then get back to their best of health. Like some time back, my daughter had fever last year. And during the moment she knew that she has temperature, she knows that she has to go completely raw. And yeah, so this she has understood. But otherwise, rest of the time, yes, she would like to eat what she wants to eat. She would not follow the protocols of, no, just eat fruits in the morning. No, nothing like that. If she wants to have some food, she'll just let me know, I want to have this, and I cook for her. Because I don't want to force anything down anybody. Because once you force something on somebody, what's going to happen is, whether they're going to follow it or not, I'm not sure, but one day they will want to just run away from all that. And this might also bring a distance between our relationship. And I think ultimately we don't want that. We need to have a more loving, bonding relationship, like wherein both of us can communicate and understand each other and accept each other as they are. Like they need to accept me as I am, and I need to accept them as they are, without judging them or without putting them down, or whether putting anybody up there. No, nobody is up there or down there. No, everybody is, everybody is just equals. Only thing is, like, your journeys, your experiences can be a little different, and accordingly you will have to take your own decisions. And still you need to be together and support each other with whatever you're doing.
Amazing. Can you hear me well now?
Yes, better.
Because I changed something in the settings.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that in order that you need to discuss your lifestyle choices with your spouse. Now, for that, you need to place with this person. Can you hear me?
Again, it just went off. You need to be in a
have good communication with this person.
Yes.
Have good communication. So how to establish good communication in the first place in order to be able to raise these subjects? Like you in general, in order for subjects to be. So
right.
Maybe you can give some tips from experience.
Right. Yeah. One thing I'd like to start by saying, first thing, we need to learn to be able to communicate with everybody, whether it is your family, whether it's your friend, or whether just anybody out there. And when you talk about communication, what I understand is
Yes, so and maybe you could teach level of communication.
Yes. Yeah.
I will put this question in the chat. So
that'll be really helpful. Yeah. So let me just go ahead with your question.
Lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
In the chat.
Good level of communication, so you are able to discuss your lifestyle choices. Yes. Yeah, that's a very good point here. First thing, I understand, if you want to have a very good communication with everybody, first thing what you need to do is, first you need to become a good listener. Because until you don't listen to what the other person is saying, the other person is not going to listen to you. And without you understanding what the other person is trying to convey, you cannot have a conversation. Because if you are not understanding what the other person wants to convey, whatever you're going to say is not going to really reach the other person, because the conversation is not going to be at the same level. So the first thing we need to do is, we need to just be calm enough to be able to understand what the other person is trying to say. And sometimes you can, if you just really look deeply into what people are talking about, very often you can see, like, the words might be different. Somebody would be talking about something, but the idea behind that particular point of a conversation might be something else. So you need to be calm enough, you need to be grounded enough to be able to really look into all that. So once you are able to really understand where the other person is coming from, or where his thoughts or ideas are coming from, then it is very easy for you to talk accordingly.
Mm.
So once you understand the other person's point of view, the other person's thoughts, then you can talk in the same level or in the same language. And that is when the other person will start listening to you.
Yeah, because oftentimes heads.
Yep.
Would
you like to remove your headphones and just talk in the computer? You can try that. No, remove it completely, I guess.
Now, so is it better now?
When you ask, is it better now? It is better, but sometimes otherwise it gets lost. Can't hear you. Yeah. Can't hear you at all.
Okay, and now?
Yes, now I can. Yeah.
Oftentimes, the mental in our heads. Can you?
It is just coming halfway. It's only half the matter is coming here to me.
Put it in the problem.
Yes, please. Yes, please put it in the chat.
Oh. 2. No.
Yes.
Read of that.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good point. Very often people are judgmental. Even we tend to become judgmental. So we need to understand, we need to put ourselves in the other person's shoe and try to understand where all his information is coming from, or where all his ideas are coming from, and just see how useful it seems to him or her. And once you try to understand what the other person's needs are and what the other person is going through, you just need to give that person space, because you need to have that trust wherein you have to understand that the other person will always, everybody, not just one person, everybody is always trying to do the best for themselves. Sometimes you might not have the right ideas. Sometimes you might be doing something not too good, but you might think that you are doing something good. This is when you need somebody else to tell you that what you're doing is not okay. But then this is what everybody tries to do all the time. Whether you are doing the best of the things or not, they always try to give you their peace of mind, thinking what they know is better than what you know. So this is when, like, what we need to do is try to explain and try to put the other person's fears, just try to calm down the other person's fears by explaining to them and tell them, like, just watch and wait and see if I improve. If let's try to discuss every day about how I feel. And if you see any improvements in me, then I think you should let me go on with what I'm doing. Because very often in this kind of lifestyle, a fasting lifestyle or a vegan, a raw lifestyle, what happens is physically you might not appear to be really very healthy, because initially you start losing a lot of weight. So this is when you need to keep telling the other person, like, you might not be looking really too good, but you still feel great from inside. So what you are actually feeling from inside is what you need to convey to the other person. So this is how you will have to, like, it has to be taken on day-to-day basis. Like, every day you'll need to talk about it. You'll need to discuss about the ups and downs. And yes, sometimes there can be downs because you can have some healing crisis. And still you need to explain to the other person that this is part of the process, and you just, yeah. Right, how to develop these qualities. Yes. The process of like when somebody gets into fasting or healthy lifestyle, what happens is the body slowly starts eliminating the toxins, and this also helps the person to become more calmer and more peaceful. So what we need to do is like learn a little bit of communication. What I've learned is, like, when I was as a child, as I told you, I loved reading a lot of books. So one of the books that I just loved the most was How to Win Friends and Influence People. So this particular book, I remember I read it as a child when I was in school, and I loved the principles in the book so much that I would just try to use those principles in my daily life when I used to talk to people. And that helped me a lot. I saw that when I really use those principles to communicate with anybody, I found it easier to be able to communicate with the other person. So once you start communicating well, it becomes easier. And I don't think I'm talking about something which in connection with what you asked me. You asked me how not to be judgmental, how to learn not to be judgmental. Yes. For that, we need to bring in a lot more deeper understanding in ourselves, because we need to understand, just like how I feel, or just like how I need to take care of myself, everybody else is entitled to take care of themselves. And we need to believe and trust that everybody does their best for themselves. So we need to understand that and trust that, and this will help us to not be judgmental with the other person and try to be as supportive as possible. And when we talk about support, it is being with the person through the journey. And when you feel that the journey is not okay or not right, try to cross-check, try to find out from other sources, reliable sources, whether this is okay or not okay, and just try to help that person to continue or discontinue. So instead of being judgmental, or instead of trying to put somebody down or force somebody into a lifestyle or out of a lifestyle, it's really good to be able to be with that person, walk with them, support them, understand them, and try to be with them through it until you really see that it is not okay at all. Yes, I think I got you. Right. So the best example I can start with is my own parents, because my father and my mother, both of them, intermittent fasting for years together. My father is no more now, but as long as he was alive, he and my mom, they would practice intermittent fasting for all through their life, like since they were maybe in their 20s, late 20s. They started since they were in their late 20s or 30s. And the intermittent fasting would be like they would not eat anything after 6 in the evening until 8 or 9 in the morning the next day. So they would practice this every single day. And both of them would practice 36 hours of water fast twice a month. And they would also practice 24 hours or so of water fast twice a month. So it would be 4 days a month of fasting. So with this practice of fasting every single day, intermittent fasting and 36-hour water fast, I could see, like, with time, both of them were in such a state of mind. Like my father would never scold us, or he would never be very rude with us, leave alone hitting us or spanking, ever, never.
So it was only like he would just talk to us, like if some we were 7 siblings, so if any of the child was not really studying very well or not doing too good in studies, then he would just sit with them and talk to them and just try to find out what the difficulties was. But he would never force, and he would never say like you have to excel. No, that was never there. He would never force us in excelling, but he would always see whose capability was up to what extent, and he would try to just encourage us to reach the best potential. Like the child who could really score the best, he would encourage that child to score the best. And the child who was average, he would just not push the child too much or compare with the other child. So it was like, I think that sort of a mindset came in. He was practicing a lot of fasting. He believed in raw. He just like read a lot. So somehow spiritually he started, and that was how he could really understand everybody else, and he could really accept everybody as. And this slowly my mom also learned from my dad, and over the years I could see like they really supported each other very well through their life. Like my mom, she supported my father without any questions. Like she never raised any questions like how my father was going to sustain or how he was going to take care of the family. Never. She just blindly would walk behind him, like believed and supported him unconditionally. So this, I think, came in because they were practicing this kind of a lifestyle where they fasted regularly every single week. And every single day, there was this intermittent fasting also. So this somehow brings in you a depth and understanding where you are able to understand the other person.
Okay.
So yes, so this is a very good example I can give you from my own family, like my mother and my father. And yes, one more thing I would like to mention here is like when people fast a lot, or when people are going through the cleansing journey, very often it happens like the person can become irritable, the person can be short-tempered for some time, the person can be sad, like there can be some sort of emotional detox happening. And this is when the person himself or herself needs to understand like what I'm going through is temporary, and it's better to keep yourself away from everybody else so that you don't really talk in such a way or act in such a way that you're going to hurt the other person. So it's better to just keep within yourself, just observe yourself, go into some relaxation mode, like do some deep breathing or something like that, so that you come out of your situation on your own without really spilling your emotions on everybody else. Because very often what happens is people, they just spill their frustration, spill their anger on everybody else, and the whole family's emotions get mixed up, or like everybody else is also disturbed, the whole the family's peace is disturbed. So the best would be like, if when anybody is having this sort of an emotional detox happening, it's better to stay calm, try not to spill it out on others, and just help the body or help the mind to let it go out peacefully. Just observe it and just let it pass. Yeah. So this we need to understand that everybody has a duty towards this. Like it's your duty not to spill your emotions on everybody else. Yes, if you can find somebody with whom you can talk about it and with whom you can discuss about it, or with whom you can get some support, then that's a different thing. If not, it's better not to spill it on to other people in the family. Yeah. The practical level, what to do when on the practical level, what to do when we are invited to an event and we eat completely different than everyone else? Yes, that's a good question again. So when you are at a public event, what I would do is like very often I attend a lot of public events also. So very often I eat at home. I finish my lunch or dinner at home and then I go. And I just try to look at the table and see what kind of food, what the foods are available, and what is the food that I can eat or which is going to suit me. So I try to pick only that and I just eat that. If not, I just skip the food. I just skip that part. I just meet people, talk to them, and not eat anything. Sometimes I do that too. And if I find something that I can eat, yes, then I just pick it and I eat it. And sometimes what some people do is they pack their own lunch from home and they carry it to a function or an event, and they just sit with everybody at the same table and they eat from their own box or their own package. And you can, when people ask you like why you are eating whatever you are eating, you can just explain to them and still continue eating what you want to eat. There can be people who can laugh at you, or there can be people who might just make fun of you, or there can be people who just don't really look very happy with what you're doing. But then that's okay, because that's what you need to understand, that is their level of understanding. So you just cannot expect everybody to understand your journey, but you can still stick on to your journey and just continue with what you want to do. And the best way is like finish your meal at home or carry your food to the function, or see if you find the right food for you at the table, whatever they have offered for you, from whatever they have offered for you. So that's how you can still sustain with what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, let me check. Yeah, if someone has a spouse who is judgmental of their lifestyle, what would be the best strategy to handle it? Yeah, that's a very good question again. What I personally do is like there are times when I prefer to be 100% raw, and my husband is not yet very much into 100% raw all the time. So he finds it a little bit difficult when I want to be 100% raw. Like for some time he is okay with it, and after some time, like he starts feeling a little bit left out, or he feels as though we are moving a little bit apart, or when I see that he is not really very comfortable with what I'm doing. And when I can feel like he is not really very happy with what I'm doing, then that is when what I do is I just fall back a little on what I'm doing and just accommodate a little bit of his way of eating also, so that sometimes I'm eating with him and sometimes I'm on my own. I eat what I want to eat. So this is how I try to bring a balance, because to me, relationships are more important. Yes, my health is important, but the relationship or the health of my family or the emotional health in the family is also very, very important for me. I want everybody to be happy. I don't want anybody to be unhappy due to somebody else's habits or practices. So what I try to do is sometimes I just let go of what I want to do for some time and try to accommodate their lifestyle also for some time. And then with time, after some time, I keep talking. And when I see that the other person is again ready to let me do what I want to do, then I just get back onto my way of lifestyle again. So this is how I try to find a balance. Because as I'm a part of a family, is if I was living on my own individually, then I could just do what I want to do. But then if I'm a part of a family, then I think it's important that I try to balance my choices and my family's understanding and choices also, and try to move with everybody together.
Good. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. The goals.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. See, people come and stay with me at my own home. I have a couple of extra rooms here, so wherein people can come and stay with me. So when people come and stay with me, it's especially from the Western countries. For them, it's a really good change because they live with an Indian family, and they get to know our culture from close by. They can see how we live, the way we live, and all that. So it's a very good experience for people when they come here. And yes, when they come as a couple, it's really very nice because they really get to learn a lot from the way we live here. And the conversations that we have here over, usually we talk a lot on during our lunches and dinners together, because everybody's at the table and everybody likes to talk. So we start a conversation start there, and it just continues even after the lunch or the dinner is over. And we have a lot of interaction, and we talk a lot about I just talk about my culture, my about my background, and what are the beliefs and culture is here. So this way, like, people just can see and experience or discover a new perspective which they have never ever experienced or thought of before. So this is how, like, when they come to my place, they can see a very different kind of lifestyle. And there's a lot of give and take of information, wherein everybody benefits, and we enrich our experiences through our conversations, and we educate ourselves more, and we grow together. So when people come here as a couple or as a family, it is really a very good experience for them and for us, for both.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, I do. I've had such couples, like one person was on a healing journey and the other person just accompanied the spouse. So yes, I still accommodate, and I help them. I just make separate arrangements for them or for their food. And yes, I give them vegan food, if not raw vegan. If they are okay with raw vegan, I give them raw vegan. If not, if they want cooked food, then yes, we do accommodate such spouses also when they travel to my place.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I can. Yes. There was a couple here from Australia. The lady was she was suffering from cysts in her uterus, and her issue was a deep one, because, like, the cysts were just too many. Like, she would look as though she was 7 months pregnant. The uterus was so bulky, and she had already had a couple of surgeries trying to remove the cysts, and the cysts would just keep recurring. So ultimately she realized, like, the surgeries were not helping her. So she decided that she had to try something else. And that was when somebody suggested to her that she could try natural lifestyle. And when she saw that it was not easy to follow everything at home on her own, she decided to come to me or stay with me for around 100 days. So she stayed with me for 100 days. And I had already told her like the 100 days will not be enough for her to heal completely. But yes, the healing would have started. And she would be able to, she would learn how to follow this kind of lifestyle. And once she has experienced a lot of healing, it will not be difficult for her to go home and continue again. So when she was here with me for the 3 months, every month during her periods, it would be painful, and like she would be eliminating a lot of cysts. So with time, the size of her stomach had gone down significantly, and her cramps had reduced, her pain had reduced, and flexibility had improved. The yoga had helped her to really, she could start squatting, which she could never do before. She could squat on the ground, on the floor. So there was a lot of improvement. So she was really improvements. For the 100 days, the improvement was really very, very significant. So this is one example I can talk about. And there was another girl. She was just 14 years old, and she had arthritis. All her joints were really very stiff. And after following this kind of lifestyle for around 50 days, I mean, like before, her mom helped her with all her activities. But after 50 days, she could be working on her own. Yeah. And again, I can give you one example wherein a person was, he was carried, he was literally, he was a doctor, and he had some stomach infection, due to which he was not able to eat anything or digest anything. And he had lost a lot of weight. He was weighing only 30 kilograms when he was brought to my father's place. And like somebody was just walking through my street, and when they read the board, they just came and asked my father if he would take somebody who was really terminally ill, like the doctors had literally given up. And so would my father like to take up such a case? And my father was always very much confident, like if nature, like if the man was destined to live, he will live. So we just need to support him, that's all. So he just asked him to be brought in. And that man was, he could not walk. So he was just brought in, like he carried like that, like a child. And he was left at our home. And initially, my father just started giving him with juices. And with time, by the end of the 100 days that he was, or 3 months that he was with my father, by the end of those 3 months, he was literally 100% active, moving around. He would do his own work. He would fill his own hydrotherapy equipment for his treatments. And he went back perfectly healthy. So there are many, many such examples that I can keep talking about like this, wherein people have really benefited a lot. Yes. Yeah, there have been people who came to me with gangrene on their feet, like sugar patients whose sugar levels were very high. And the feet already, the feet had, first a lady came to me with a boil in her feet, and it had started growing bigger. So her grandchildren are working in the hospital as nurses. So they took her to the hospital, and the doctors there decided that the wound was becoming larger. So they decided that the feet had to start to be cut. So that was when the daughter in the family, she knew me. So she said, let me just try this once before we start cutting the feet. So she brought her mom to my place, and she said, like, can you help my mom? And I said, yes, nature can certainly help anybody. So we put her onto a 100% raw diet, and I started giving her all different treatments like the sun bath and the mud bath and stuff like that, which would help her to eliminate the level of toxins from her body. And you won't believe, the wound started drying up soon. And within a month, the wound was completely gone and she could walk on her own. So they did not have to cut her feet. this is one example. And just there was another lady who was like, she is a beautician, and at her parlor she was one day like taking care of a client, and she was just relating to her that her brother was in the hospital since 45 days, and his wound in his feet had started becoming bigger. So they had already cut one toe, and the other toe was about to be cut, and like the doctors were not able to control the sugar levels, and the feet was really going very bad every single day. So even after 45 days of hospitalization, the sugar levels were not coming down. So that was a very sad situation for the guy. And this lady was just discussing this with the client, and the client suggested, she said, my mom has already healed her gangrene at a certain place. So if you want, you can try it out. And so she suggested that she bring her brother to my place. And this lady, the beautician, she immediately called me up. She spoke to me, and I told her, yes, her brother can be helped. And she brought her brother here, and we put him onto this kind of lifestyle and food changes. And within 3 months, the feet was like he could walk on his own. So whatever the doctors had already cut, what he lost, rest of the feet was intact, and he could walk on his own. And the sugar levels had come down to normal.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Swati, is there anybody whose case was like not, I mean, not successful, but a difficult situation where it took a lot more healing, more because their mental blocks were there in regards to healing, because sometimes the body he wants to heal itself, but their mindset is such that they are so in that perceived pain, and they actually not enjoy it, but they think that's it, that is the rest of the life. Does that hinder your treatment in any way? Have you ever come across something like that, or a patient who's hindered his own treatment because of his own?
Yes. There are some such people. Very what happens is like there are people who are so much into their own thoughts, or they are so much entangled into their own researches and information, that they very often, I see that they are not able to really listen to what I'm actually trying to tell them. So it's like, yes, they see that people have been able to heal when they have tried to follow this lifestyle. And so they believe, yes, this can help them too. But when they come here, they come with their, there are some people who just cannot trust anybody as 100%. So they have their own information, like they keep researching all the time. And like there's so much information online available everywhere. And you have pros and cons about anything and everything around there. So that sometimes becomes a little bit difficult for me, because I'm trying to explain something to somebody, and that person is again researching and then finding out, getting information which can be contradictory, and will not be able to trust on my words 100%. And yes, this does hinder the healing, because this actually delays the healing a lot. The healing process becomes really very, very slow. And when I see this, that the issue is with the person's state of mind, the level of understanding. And yes, I understand this is also a part of the issue, because when somebody is really too messed up inside their physical state, then they can be messed up in their mental state too. So it's just both connected together. Like if you are mentally highly messed up, your body will be messed up. Your body is messed up, your mind can be messed up. So I understand that that is the situation. So I understand. So
how do you then, do you suggest the meditation and all first, or how do you take them past that?
I just well, my strategy is a little bit different. Like, yes, we have our daily routine protocols, which we do together every day. But sometimes some people are there who really cannot, who do not want to follow everything that we say. So with such people, I just let them take their own time, because as I told you, I don't really force people into anything. So I just keep talking about it. So whenever they raise a doubt or a question, that is when I try to tell them, like, they need to change their way of thinking, or they need to try to look at this differently, or they need to just let go of their own thoughts, or they need to just put their thoughts to rest and
Right.
trust nature. So this, I just try to explain to them only when I see that they are going to be receptive today. And on the days when I see that they are not going to be receptive, I don't really try to force them or try to force my thoughts on them, because I know it's not going to be helpful for them also, and I'll be wasting my energy. So yes, I just let them flow. And the day when they are ready to listen to, then that is when I try to talk to them and try to bring them out of whatever they are messed up in. Yes. So any other question, or do you have any more doubts on this? Or you want? Hello. I can't hear you. No, can you just type it in the chat box? There's something not okay today. I think the internet is not at all supportive.
Yeah, that is really strange, because so
Okay, that's another question that's come.
Sorry, I kind of lost you, Swati. Okay.
What other techniques do you use in addition to diet? Yes. Yeah. In addition to diet, like it's I believe it's not that it's the diet is not the only thing that is going to help somebody heal, because there are many other things which are equally important, like peace of mind, being completely relaxed. We need to bring in nature 100% in your lifestyle, like bringing in the sun, the earthing, the breathing, connecting with the nature. So I just try to bring all those, incorporate all that in their lifestyle. And yoga, meditation, relaxation, counseling. So I just try to incorporate all these together and help them to heal.
hear you.
Can't hear you again.
Yeah,
I can't hear you. I didn't get you. Can you just type it out again in the chat box, please, if you don't mind? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Massages. Yes. Yes. I do. Yes. We do give massages also. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Swati, question: how long is the minimal treatment a person comes for? A week, 10 days, or is it quarter? Like you need 14 days, 21?
Yeah. It just depends on the person. Like if the person, see, after the consultation, I usually suggest like how much time they may need to spend with me before they can go back home and continue at home. And if they are okay with that time period, then they will come for that time period. And that can be around 21 days or 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, depending on their issues. And if not, because for everybody, it's not that easy to come out for such a long time. So sometimes they just see their comfort and their availability of holidays. And if it is just 1 week that they can come here, I just allow that too. Because ultimately, the idea is they need to learn what we do, and they just need to go back home and continue on it. And though it is going to be a little bit difficult to continue the same lifestyle at home, because as everybody else in the family is not aware of this kind of lifestyle. So it can be a little bit difficult. So I just suggest that they try to do as much as possible here with me. And after that, they can just go back home and continue on their own. And I do give online support also after they are back, they have gone back home.
So someone coming in from abroad would first do a consultation with you and then you suggest the course of treatment. Yeah?
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
Okay, yeah,
Mm.
that makes sense. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're based again where in Tamil Nadu?
Vellore. I live in a town called Arcot, near Vellore.
Vellore. So that's close to
Yes.
where the Oroville is, or is that far away?
Oroville is around 100 kilometers from my place.
Oh, okay. Not too far. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. So because I've heard Oroville is all organic and it's very green and stuff
Yes,
like that.
it's a beautiful place.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
I really want to definitely come, but my only concern is with all this vaccination thing, and I haven't got vaccinated. I don't know if I could travel, but I will definitely. You have a website. Can you post it in the link into the chat, please?
Sure, I'll do that. Traveling, I think at least by the train, it's not really difficult. Using the flight might be difficult.
Yeah, but I'm not based in India, right?
Okay, I didn't know that. Sorry about that. Yeah, even if you are not vaccinated, I think the Indian government is still allowing people to come in, even if you're not vaccinated. But then you have to do an RT-PCR test, and you also need to. You may be suggested that you go into quarantine for some time before you can move ahead.
Ah, yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the situation for now. But I think with time, it looks to me like things are going to get easier.
Yes. Yes. I'm waiting for that because leaving
Yeah.
based in the UAE at the moment. So for me, the UAE is very strict.
Ah, okay.
Very strict. So yeah. But if you post a link, I want to go through it, and I also want to recommend it to quite a number of people. That's the reason why I'm asking.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Excellent. My internet connection was very bad, so I didn't get your entire speech. But what I will do is I will listen to the recording again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Swati, I wanted to ask you, what do you use a particular skin care routine that you yourself follow, because you've got incredibly lovely skin?
Oh, thank you. What I do is like, since I prepare powder for myself for my self-care, I dry the orange peel, and I grind the orange peel along with the moong dal, the green moong.
Yeah.
And I grind them together, and I use this powder for for my daily bath.
Really? The whole body?
Yeah.
Oh, just orange peel and moong dal?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
and for my
you don't use besan at all. The normal.
No,
Okay.
besan. It's the chickpea flour that can really dry your skin.
Right.
And the moong dal doesn't dry your skin that much. It just can retain some of the oil still in your skin.
So it'll become a paste. Do I need to add water? So I've got orange peel.
Yeah, I add water. What I do is like I have a dried up preparation which I always store it at home, like the dried up orange peel with the moong dal. But sometimes when this powder is finished, and if I still want to have something for my bath, then what I do is I just take the fresh orange peel. I just put a piece of tomato, a piece of cucumber, and I just grind it together, and I use that paste for my bath.
A tomato, cucumber, and
orange peel.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and maybe a couple of drops of lemon.
Okay, but can you use that for your face without any problem?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. But not
Yeah.
on your hair, obviously. Hair, you cannot obviously put any of these
For
things.
my hair, I have a different preparation.
Oh,
It's a combination of 6 different things. It's the soap nut and the moong and rice and fenugreek seeds and amla and like 6 stuff. And I just grind it together and I
Yeah.
use that powder.
and it washes your hair clean, proper. No,
It's absolutely beautiful. Like once you start using it, you wouldn't want to go to anything else.
oh wow.
Yes.
Amla. So you don't use shikakai and arita?
It's shikakai. No arita, only shikakai.
Okay. So shikakai, you use shikakai, amla.
Yes. I
Okay.
can actually, I have a PDF with the combinations, with the proportions also. I can just
Yes.
share that sometime. Maybe, I think you're in the raw vegan
Yes.
group, right?
Yes.
I'll share it in the group tomorrow.
Lovely. Thank you so much. My gosh.
You're
It's
welcome.
really beautiful. Thank you, Swati.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you, Arik, for bringing Swati. The more times we hear her, the more we want to hear her.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Arik. Thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for the patience, for your patience all through the talk. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mala. Thank you so much for your support and love.